Welcome to Unit 6 of Speechcraft Fundamentals. In the previous units, you have learned about your message, your structure, your points, and in the last unit, you learned how not to open your speech. So it only seems fitting, also because I promised it last time, that in this video, you learn how to open your speech. In the interest of time, we are limiting it to 3 ways to open your speech. There are more than 3, and perhaps we'll discuss those in a future video. There's no rule that says a sequel must come out right away, is there? You know, I was just reading, the 4th Matrix movie is currently in production. The 3rd Matrix movie came out 18 years ago, so there's no rule that says a sequel needs to come out immediately. So if you want more ways to open a speech, bombard me on social media, maybe I'll write it, because if the Matrix has taught us nothing else, it's never say never. Although technically, the James Bond franchise taught us never say never, and on that note, we'll miss you, Sean Connery. Just in case you haven't had an opportunity to watch my previous unit, How Not to Open Your Speech, what's wrong with you? Go back and watch that. You're only getting half the story here. But anyways, the reason you need to open your speech strong is based on a very simple principle. Within the first 7 seconds of your speech, your audience is going to determine whether they like you. Within the first 30 seconds of your speech, your audience is going to determine whether they want to hear more from you. So if you want to go out there, if you really want to grab that audience's attention, here are 3 ways you can do that. One good way to open your speech is with a story, and it can be a funny story. Now, in the previous unit, you may have heard me say that you should not open with a joke. I was not saying don't open with something funny. I was saying do not open with something unoriginal. If you got it in your email or you heard a comedian say it, don't tell that story. But if your story is personal, if it's original, if it's what you would call a funny anecdote or a strange thing happened to me on the way to the auditorium tonight, by all means, tell that story. Just make sure it's something that's original, that your audience has probably not heard before. Your opening story doesn't need to be funny. It can be heartfelt, especially if that's the tone you want to set for the rest of your speech. If appropriate, you can even cast yourself as the sympathetic character in that story. But whether your story is funny or heartfelt, it's a great way to get out there, engage the audience, grab their attention, and set the tone for the rest of your speech. Another great way you can open your speech is by making a shocking statement that grabs the audience's attention. In one of my workshops on presentation skills, I take the stage and the first thing I say is, "I hate omelets." And everyone in the audience looks at me funny. Who hates omelets? And secondly, why are you even talking about omelets? I thought we were here for presentation skills. So then I tell them the story of why I used to say I hate omelets, but now I love omelets, and then I tie it back to presentation skills. But it's that shocking line, "I hate omelets," that hooks them. Along with telling a story and making a shocking statement, asking a question is a really good way to open your speech. It gets the audience's attention because it changes them from being passive listeners to active participants. You're forcing them to consider something. In my speech, Superheroes and Superpowers, which is available in the video section of my website as well as on my YouTube channel, in that speech, I open by saying, "Raise your hand if you wish superheroes were real." And when I ask that, every hand in the room always goes up. So then I go somewhere with that. Here's the caveat when it comes to asking questions. You have to ask them for a reason. You can't ask them just because. For example, I once saw a speech that went something like this. Who here's had a good meal at a restaurant? Who here's had a bad meal at a restaurant? Let me tell you what makes for a good meal. He asked the question about a bad meal for no good reason. He didn't go anywhere with it. If I were coaching him, I would have advised something like this. Raise your hand if you've had a good meal at a restaurant. You know what I mean? A meal that you remembered long after. A meal that you told people about every time the subject of food came up. Do you know what makes for a good meal? Well, you're about to learn. Always ask a question with a destination in mind, some place you want to take the audience. Don't ask it just because. Ask it to get their attention and then do something with that attention. Those are 3 stellar ways to open your speech. You can tell a great story, you can make a shocking statement, or you can ask an insightful question. Are there more than those 3 ways? Absolutely there are. Will there be videos explaining those other ways someday? There's only one way to find out, and that's to keep it tuned right here to lastrites.com for more speaking tips. That's last-WRITES.com. And if you follow me on social media or sign up for my email list, you will be notified of new videos when they come out. But together we, that's you and I, we will lay boring speeches to rest by giving them the last rites.